What's up, you guys? Welcome back to my channel. Sorry I haven't made a video in a while, but with a new baby you always say you're gonna get to it and then you forget to get to it. So today I'm going to be filming my labor and delivery story, just kind of talking about how things went with my C-section and my recovery. So let's just get straight into it. So rewind back to, I think it was June 6th. My due date was June 8th, which was a Friday. So that Wednesday, I went in to my OB to get another checkup done. So I had been, bouncing on the ball in the coming weeks, trying Primrose oil. I even tried a, what is it called? Like this drink, this concoction. I can't think of the name right now, but I know it'll come to me. And it was so gross, and it was supposed to put me in labor, and it did give me contractions and for the night, and then they just faded into the morning, which was a bad idea. I would not suggest doing that, especially with how my labor went. I hope nothing bad happened to my baby at that time, but it was definitely not something you should do, at least not something so aggressive as that. But yeah, so I was trying to loosen up my cervix for the coming weeks. I was just hoping that I would go into spontaneous labor and that I'd be 4 centimeters dilated. None of that happened. So I went to my OB on Wednesday, and so they checked me. They were like, your cervix is closed, it's really high, so due date is Friday, so we'll see how you do throughout the weekend. Come back in Monday. If baby's still not here, then we'll talk about induction. So at this point I'm like, listen, I don't want to wait till next week. I want my baby to be here either on my due date or before then. So I've got 2 days to get this baby out. And honestly, throughout my pregnancy, I was fairly patient. I had a great pregnancy. I maybe had morning sickness once. I lost my appetite in the beginning weeks and stuff like that. But other than that, I enjoyed being pregnant. I mean, it was hard towards the end when I couldn't really breathe. That was the part that I hated the most because it made it hard at work. But other than that, I had a great pregnancy. So I'm like, okay, baby, we got to get you out. We got to get you out. So I asked my doctor, I'm like, listen, is it possible that I can be induced today? And then, I know it takes baby a little bit of time once you start the induction process, and then maybe she'll be here by Friday. So my doctor is more old school. He's like, baby's been fine. We should leave her in there. I'm like, listen, you ain't never been pregnant, so you don't understand. I want her out now. So my doctor said, okay, we'll give the hospital a call, put in a request, and if they have a bed available, then you can get your induction done. So initially I was against getting induced because just from when I've seen videos, I noticed that a lot of women end up having C-sections, from trying to get that baby out sooner than the baby wants to come. But I just felt like without having any progress, it was highly unlikely she was going to come on her own anyways. So all these things you tell yourself when you're getting towards the end, why should I just do it because of this and that, blah, 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 blah. So I went ahead, put in a request for the hospital to induce me. And so the girl told me, she's like, because I live about an hour away from the hospital I was having my baby. And she's like, stay in the area maybe. Sometimes I have girls who call, and an hour later they're like, hey, can you come in? So I'm like, okay, so we'll see. So my appointment was maybe between 3 to 5 o'clock, maybe 1 o'clock. It was earlier in the afternoon, I think. So it was maybe, yeah, I think it was earlier in the afternoon. So maybe around 4 o'clock. I don't remember where I was. I was at my mom's house, and my OB called me, and I was like, oh my gosh, this could be good news. She calls me, she's like, hey girl, the hospital's trying to call you. They're trying to see if you want to come in tonight. I was like, what? I was like, I haven't even received any calls from them. She's like, be on the lookout, they're trying to call you. So I'm like, okay. So they call me 2 minutes later. I'm like, everybody shut up, I need to hear exactly what they're gonna say. So they're like, hey, we want to know if you want to come in tonight at 8 to be induced. And I'm like, oh my god, if I come in tonight, I got my baby tomorrow or the next day. So I was so excited. I was like, yes, I will be there, Bethany, don't worry, I'll be on time, all that stuff. So they sent me an email with everything to bring, stuff like that, and I talked to her for a little bit. So I called my boyfriend. I'm like, oh my gosh, honey, we're probably gonna have her tomorrow, yada yada yada. We're calling all of our family. So I had all of our stuff packed. I didn't have a mattress for her yet, so I went ahead, we went and bought a mattress, grabbed a few little things, you know, and then, you know, get showered, all that stuff, get our stuff in the car, and then we're there by like 7:30. So we get back there around like 8:30, 8:45, and they're like, you know, we're gonna, it wasn't Pitocin they used, but there was something they inserted in my cervix, and she said, I'll come back and do this every 4 hours. I just can't remember the name of it. And so they did that around 9 o'clock, and like you can't use the bathroom for like 30 minutes. I feel like every time she did it, I had to use the bathroom right away. So let's just say I found out what a bedpan was, and I do not want to have to use a bedpan ever again in my life. So anyways, so that went on for a couple hours. So I'm like, you know, this is gonna be good, you know, I'm gonna get my epidural, you know, I'm gonna give birth, that's it. No. By 9 a.m. the next morning, around 8, 9, the nurses were doing their shift changes, and my new doctor came in, and, you know, he checks me, he's like, you know, your cervix is still high, it's still closed, you know. The girl, she was a lot more like trying to encourage me. She's like, maybe like barely a centimeter, you've come down a little bit, but like, yeah, you're still closed off. So I was like, whatever, we still got time. So by this point, I'm like feeling kind of like period cramps, but I'm like, it's bearable. But then that changes. Within like 30 minutes, I'm like feeling like my stomach won't stop cramping. And, you know, the new nurse, she's looking at the monitor, and, you know, she's staring at it for a while, and I'm like, can I get some more medicine? And she's like, well, I'm watching baby's heart rate, you know, it seems like it's a little funny right now, so I need to wait until the heart rate is regular again before I can give you any more pain medication. So I feel like as time is going on, I feel like the contractions are just like getting like back to back to back, and I have a low pain tolerance. So like I didn't want to be dramatic, but like it was just so uncomfortable. I'm like, can you please just give me anything at this point? So I'm like, man, I can't even handle this. I'm like really not even in labor yet. If I can't handle this, I'm gonna be a mess when like the real contraction starts. Like kudos to moms who do it naturally or like go through hard labor before they get an epidural, because that ain't me. So it's like 9:15, and she's like, you know, I'm gonna give the doctor a call because, you know, I'm not trying to freak you out, but every time you have a contraction, the baby's heart rate is dropping and you're having contractions non-stop. So she's like, I'm not gonna put any more of the, you know, cervix softener in there, and so that way we can cut back on the contractions and stuff. So yeah, they were giving me medicine for the contractions, like to jumpstart them. And she's like, I'm gonna turn this off because it's affecting her. So as soon as she said that, like 2 seconds later, the doctor comes rushing in the room. He's like, let me see the monitor. He's like, I've been watching it from out there, and I think it's best if we do a C-section. So he's talking to my nurse, and my boyfriend and I are standing there like, is he talking about us? So I was like, oh my goodness, I don't want to get a C-section. So he looks at me, he's like, okay, boom, so this is what we finna do. I'm like, what the heck? He's like, I'm gonna make a little incision right below the bikini line. We're gonna get baby out and get her in your arms. Her heart rate is dropping after your contractions, and it's just not safe for her. And before I could like even say anything, they're like, here, take this medicine, you know, boom, boom, boom. We need to do this, we need to do that. And I'm like, just breathe, Natalia. Don't cry. Your baby's already in distress. You're just gonna make it worse. And I look at my boyfriend. I'm like, just call our moms, call our parents, tell them what's happening, tell them to get here right now. So they start wheeling me in there, and I'm waiting for him to get like scrubbed in to get his little get up on so he can be in there. So they take me in to do an epidural block, and as soon as they finish, they're like, lay down, you're gonna start going numb. And literally as I was laying down, I just felt like my whole body was just like completely going numb. So they're like prepping and everything and like rushing around, and like I'm just starting to get shaky, and I don't know if it was because it was cold or the medicine or my nerves, but I was like, it's gonna be okay, it's gonna be okay, like you're gonna see her a lot sooner than you thought. You know, you're not gonna rip your chachi open. Just trying to tell myself whatever I can to calm down. So finally my boyfriend gets in there. He sits down next to me, and I don't even realize they're starting it. I just start hearing like little noises and stuff. So I'm laying there, you know, I'm waiting, just listening. The nurse keeps saying, you know, are you okay? Are you okay? I'm like, yeah, I'm okay. Yeah. I'm like just shaking. So finally I hear them, they're like, okay, she's out. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm gonna see my baby. So they pull her out and they call the time, 9:30 a.m. June 7th, 2018. My little baby, Callie Rose, was born. And they come and walk her like past me, and she's just like blinking her little eyes. She doesn't even cry. And she's so small. She was only 5 pounds and like 13 ounces. And they're like suctioning her and everything. And I'm like, oh, my baby. She's so cute. She had these cute little red lips. And she could like barely open her eyes. She's just so beautiful. So the nurse, she comes over. She's like, let me see your phone. I need to take pictures. So I'm like, yeah, girl, get the phone. Give her the phone. So she's taking pictures for us. And I'm like, oh, my goodness. Like, it's so crazy once you see your kid. Because you're just like, wow, like, who do they look like? Or, you know, you don't expect them to be so small or so big. In my case, so small. I thought she was going to be around 7 pounds. And they finally put her on me, and she just is like the cutest little thing. She's so pale, but she's so pretty. Oh my goodness, that was seriously the best. So finally I go to recovery, and they're like doing her measurements and all that stuff, and Dad's with her while they're handling me a few feet away. And then finally they bring her over. I get to nurse, and she like does so good. So it was just, it was perfect. She was just there so fast. I feel like that was the best thing about a C-section, is because it just happens so fast. You know you're about to see your baby like immediately. But your recovery is going to be, let's talk about recovery. As I was getting closer and closer to my due date, I feel like the best thing to do as a mom, whether you're a new mom, experienced mom, whatever, is always prepare yourself for any scenario, any situation. You know, I was very afraid to give natural birth because of tearing and stuff like that. But I was also afraid to have a C-section because of the incisions and healing and all that stuff. But it's like, no matter what, you have no other way to get them out, you know? It's not like a little egg that you just poop out. Well, kind of is like that, but still. It's not easy. It's not like they just, you know, appear in a little basket and then you have no recovery. You know, that's the hard part, but you get something that's so worth it in the end. So when they finally let me stand up in the hospital, that was a struggle in itself, just having the help to get up, and, you know, you feel like you're moving wrong, and like you shouldn't do this, you shouldn't do that, and literally just getting from my bed in the hospital to the chair next to me, I felt like I was walking a marathon. Like, I felt like I would never get there. So the first night, it wasn't rough. She's such a good baby. Even to this day, she'll be 3 months next Friday. But it's just when you're so new as a parent, like, you just want to stay up with them. You want to watch them. You want to see what they're doing. Nobody told me about the nursery. So when I tell you that since the last time I had slept was before Wednesday night. So Tuesday night was the last time I had slept. Oh, I slept Wednesday night in the hospital. But since, like, I woke up in that morning, while I was waking up every 4 hours while they were inducing me. But since I woke up in that morning, I hadn't been back to sleep. You're so tired. You're so drugged up after your C-section. Like, you can't keep your eyes open. It's, like, scary. Like, people were coming to visit, and I'm like, hey, yeah. Back to sleep. Like, don't even talk to me. Like, you could probably give me the sign over my whole life and I wouldn't even be aware, because you're so tired after surgery. So, you know, trying to breastfeed was so hard. I was telling my boyfriend, I'm like, just stand next to me and just watch me feed her, because, like, I'm afraid I'm gonna fall asleep. So we both just, like, handed her back and forth all night, which I don't understand why. She was sleeping. Like, she wasn't doing anything. She's such a good baby. And then finally at like 2 a.m., one of my nurses comes in to give me more of the pain pills. And she's like, you know, you guys could leave her at the nursery for a few hours while you get some sleep. And I was like, what? We can do what? And nobody told us yet? Oh, see ya, Callie. She went to the nursery around 2 and came back at 5 o'clock. That was all the sleep I needed. I was like, okay, bring me my baby back. Where's my baby? So the hospital stay was great. Getting home, you know, smooth ride home. She slept the whole time, of course. But that first night home, gosh, oh my goodness. Wow. Yeah, let's just say wow. I cried every hour on the hour. I did not understand what my body was going through. Here we have this brand new baby. You know, she's hungry because my milk isn't coming in yet, and I really wanted to breastfeed. I didn't want to bottle feed, so we hadn't bought any formula. We had a few samples of formula and some stuff from the hospital, which they did supplement her a little bit in the hospital because her blood sugar was low. So every 4 hours they had to test her for it, and she couldn't leave unless it got up. So we ended up supplementing there. But that night, it was like my stomach was on fire. Like, it literally felt like someone had a blowtorch and they were just like going back and forth under my stomach. Like, that's how it felt, even to the touch. I didn't understand, you know, about all the nerves that were firing off that had been cut. You know, I didn't read nothing about preparing for a C-section, okay? I had a prepared kit for a vaginal birth, you know, my little peri bottle, you know, my Tux pads, and I was like 2 seconds away from making pad sickles. Like, that's what I was preparing for mentally, not a C-section. You know, I didn't have no high-waisted underwear, which I found out that was the major key to recovery. So that night was rough, and that was the night that I officially decided to bottle feed. My breasts were sore, they were cracking, they had all, you know the stuff that goes on. The nipple cream was not enough to even, I might as well just poured vodka on them or something, anything to make them numb, because that wasn't working. And she was so hungry that she was sucking so hard that, like, I was crying just feeding her, you know, and I felt bad. You know, I'm like, here I am with all this tension and upset emotions, you know, because I'm going through the pain of a C-section and kind of like the sadness because I didn't expect to have one. And even though I tried to prepare myself mentally, it's still, everything goes so fast, you don't have time to think twice about it before it's done. So in that moment, it was like 2 o'clock in the morning. I was like, we have to bottle feed. I don't want to feel this way. And after she had a bottle, her little 2 ounces, she was knocked out for the next for like 4 hours. And I knew my milk would come in, but like, I just felt so bad, like seeing her cry, knowing she was hungry, and that like I couldn't really do anything in the moment to feed her, to soothe that for her. So we decided to bottle feed, which we still do today. And do I regret it? Only a little bit, because I really enjoyed, like, I breastfed her maybe for like 3 or 4 days. I enjoyed it. Like, the feeling of your baby depending on you to eat is just like, I don't know, I really enjoyed feeding her and knowing that like this is something mommy needs to provide for her, you know. But it was just way too many other things going on that I just didn't feel that like mentally I was feeling up for the challenge, because I know breastfeeding is a challenge. So we went with bottle feeding. She slept like a gem, so mommy went to sleep. So I mean, the recovery in the weeks ahead was hard. You know, it's hard to get out of the bed by yourself. It's hard to go to the bathroom. I don't think, like, honestly, I don't think I took a shower until like maybe like 2 days at home. Like, little wash offs, yeah, but like you can't like bend over, so it's hard to, you know, clean yourself up. Like, I needed my boyfriend standing right there, like holding my arm while I was in the shower, because you just like, oh my goodness, I can't even do this, you know. So that's the thing, is like, if you're going to be planning a C-section, or you're not sure you may have to have one, just make sure you have good support there for you. You know, our family was very supportive. Once I was getting better and we would need to go to the store, you know, they'd keep the baby for a few hours. Some nights my mom and my sister would come over and like take a night shift for us, like come over at 8 o'clock and leave at like 4 a.m. and just keep the baby for us. And like that was so like helpful, you know. So don't forget your stool softeners when you're having a C-section, because yeah, I'll just leave that there for you. But yeah, there's so many things. I think honestly I might make like a C-section recovery kit and like show you guys what I feel that you need, because honestly I don't think there's enough videos on them, you know. So I feel like that is important, because like I said, you may unexpectedly have a C-section, or you may have a planned one, because you know this is your third baby and you're gonna have a C-section. So I think for my next video that's what I'll do, because whoo, child, that is something serious. But anyways, so that was my labor and delivery story. Let's see, we're at 21 minutes, so yeah, that's what I get for rambling. But hopefully you guys enjoy this video. Leave me some comments down below. Don't forget to like the video, subscribe, you know, just reach out, don't be afraid. So let me know. Yeah, I don't even know what I'm saying anymore. But anyways, bye.